shipping, I understand that there is a growing need for general cargo vessels. A shift away from China is an opportunity in the smaller vessels category then for India. Is India capitalizing on that?
So, I mean, the regionalization of trade would require smaller vessels and probably the more number of vessels. And it's the trend that we have been seeing for the last several years, because the low-end manufacturing is trying to find the next home in the last 10, 15 years, and Vietnam being one of the success story, and lately Thailand in India. So yeah, there is a demand for those vessels, but what industry has seen is a cascading of vessels as the Asia, Europe and Trans-Pacific managed to get the 15, 18, 20,000 TEU vessels. The smaller vessels slowly gravitated towards the smaller regions. So yes, I mean, if you look at the current order book, most of the orders are concentrated on the larger vessels, and that is reflected into the charter rates on the smaller vessels category.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Parash. India and the shipbuilding industry ranks 20th globally. How can it move up the ranks?
I mean, it's tough. I mean, it took state support for several decades before even China trumped the power of Korea. Before that was Japan. So China, Korea, Japan pretty much is the entire shipbuilding industry in all practical purpose. I mean, essentially there are three components, right? Steel, labor, and pretty much the inflation or the currency of that country. And Chinese shipbuilders have an advantage in terms of managed to find the steel at a pretty attractive rates. And they have a plenty of skilled labor. I mean, even today, after China being dominant for 2 decades in the shipbuilding industry, I mean, the labor productivity, they still haven't caught up with Korea and Japan. So India is starting today without the state support in terms of subsidy or in the pricing. I think it's a pipe dream.
Isn't there state support? Are there initiatives like a PM Gati Shakti, National Logistics Policy, where ports and shipping can gain from subsidies and incentives?
I mean, see, for a large part, the container shipping is a global business.
Yes.
So unless there are policies which forces the shippers or the cargo owners to use the Indian manufactured, Indian flagged stage for the cabotage routes, it will still remain uncompetitive. I mean, India is trying through some of the private yards and the government-owned yards, but they are mostly into the ferries, smaller boats. But yeah, I think it will take a lot of time and a lot of efforts to even be relevant into this landscape.
So if you can't beat them, join them. So does that mean that the Indian shipbuilding industry has to look towards collaboration and JVs with the South Korean shipbuilders, the Japanese and the Chinese to move forward and to build, ironically perhaps, a domestic industry?
I still think that government has a key role to play, because you need to make the shipbuilding industries available steel at a competitive price, as competitive as it is for China. And then probably you need to train your workforce into this value chain. So in theory, India has plenty of labor, India has a coastline, so all the ingredients are there. It's just the price competitiveness where probably it will be very difficult to organically build that competitiveness.
But it's starting though, isn't it? The production of commercial ships in India peaked in 2010. It's been on a downward spiral since. But there are signs of a renaissance. European ship owners, smaller general cargo ships have been placing orders in 23, 24 for new tonnage. So how can India scale?
No, absolutely, as you said, because see, the idea is that in the last 5, 6 years, because the industry made so much money, that too much money was chasing too few slots. If you take like Koreans or the Japanese or the Chinese shipyards like Yangtze, I mean, there are no slots available for 25, 26, 27, 28. So what do you do as a ship owner? So, and with the noise around the USTR, everybody was trying to diversify their potential bets.
What about green shipping? Can India develop a niche specialism and a niche capability in that area? From what I understand, Cochin Shipyard has been leading the way in pioneering a lot of great work in that field.
Yeah, I mean, see, so with respect to naval and the defense, because most of those countries wanted to be self-reliant. So India is doing a decent job on that front. It's the commercial ship segment. And see, so far as this whole green shipping is concerned, if you look at last year, I mean, more than 2/3 of the ships that the shipping industry ordered had a capability of burning LNG or methanol. The problem lies into securing that fossil-free fuel. And at that point of time, you need the help of the refiners, the oil majors, the government in terms of forming the policies. So, as far as shipping industry is concerned, I think they are playing their part.